Hello, everybody. My name is Melissa, and welcome into Senior Living Live. I hope you are having a fantastic day today. Well, we appreciate you joining us for not one, but 3 webinars for the month of May. This is webinar number 1 for the month. Of course, later this month, we will observe Memorial Day to honor our military men and women who died while serving our country. So in honor of this month and that holiday, it is a perfect time to bring in one of our favorite guest presenters, Emily Schwartz. She is the president of Veterans Financial, and she is here to help you understand the VA benefit for independent living. Emily, she will be available for all of your questions at the end of the webinar. So just go down to the bottom of your screen where it says Q&A, type your questions out there, and I will be happy to read them to Emily at the end of her presentation. Emily, we always love having you on the show. We love the knowledge that you're able to give all of us, and I know we are all going to learn at least one new piece of information today. The webinar is all yours. Take it away.
All right. Thank you so much, Melissa and Arbor Company. I really appreciate it. I love presenting about the aid and attendance benefit for all of you. And I know the people that are on today maybe have not heard me present before. We're going to do this from a little bit of a different angle. Typically, I'm talking a lot about assisted living and memory care. And today I'm going to be talking about independent living and possibly some home care. So hopefully this will give a new perspective for those of you on the line or listening to the recording. So as Melissa introduced me, I am president of Veterans Financial, and I am co-founder of a new website called aidandattendance.com. I will share with you a little bit about each of these companies as we go forward, but I want to just dive right into this material. Typically, I talk for about 30 minutes, and then as Melissa said, I'm more than happy to stay on for as long as you want to get your questions answered. So as we get started, I always like to ask people to set aside any financial misperceptions that they might have. Many veterans and surviving spouses believe that they are ineligible or have been told that they're ineligible because of high income, high assets, or both. And that is just incorrect. I'm going to demonstrate that to you as we go through the slides. But in essence, the cost of senior living and home care are deductible medical expenses for VA purposes. You probably already know that they can be deductible for IRS purposes on your taxes, but you may not have been aware that they can reduce or eliminate your countable income when applying for this VA benefit. Families with net worth above the VA's asset limit, which I will go through as well today, can also become eligible for this benefit. They might not be eligible today, and utilizing estate planning strategies in accordance with VA regulations can help you also become eligible. This is one of the reasons it's so important to talk about this benefit to independent living residents and those that are considering moving into independent living, because sometimes you want to work on your net worth criteria long before you need a lot of care. So why did you join today? Why is it important to share this information with veterans and surviving spouses? Well, because there was a lot of money to be had from the Department of Veterans Affairs, and oftentimes people are completely unaware of it. Unfortunately, Social Security, Medicare, and the VA is not mailing you leaflets telling you this is available to you. So if you didn't learn about it from a senior living company, you may never even know. In 2021, what I'm showing you are the monthly max month for this year. They go up every year with the cost of living adjustment. They went up 1.3% for 2021, 1.6% the prior year. So I would anticipate somewhere between 1% and 2% for 2022. But this year, a surviving spouse is eligible for $1,244 a month. A single veteran is eligible for $1,936 a month. Then there are 2 married veteran amounts. I like to start with a higher dollar amount at the bottom of the box because that's the one that happens most often. That is when the married veteran needs care and his spouse can either need care or be healthy. Makes no difference. As long as the married veteran themselves needs care, they are eligible for $2,295 a month. That's almost $2,300, and it will definitely be over $2,300 next year. Then there's a married veteran amount that oftentimes people who are familiar with this benefit aren't even aware of. This is where the married veteran is healthy, but the spouse needs care. The spouse is receiving that care in a senior living community or home care agency, and the married veteran who is healthy can apply to the VA based on those care needs and care costs and receive $1,520 a month to help pay for the spouse's care. Now, you've been looking at the screen for a while, so you'll see that all of this money is tax free. There is no gross or net, and it's paid directly to the applicant. So essentially, it's $15,000 a year to $27,500. It's a lot of money. And that's why we want you to know about this benefit, even if you might not be eligible for it quite yet. It needs to be part of your plan. So, in determining eligibility, the VA looks at four areas of eligibility. They look at military service of the veteran, health of the applicant, net income after medical expenses, and family net worth. As I promised at the beginning, I'm just going to explain a little bit about my companies before we proceed. So, Veterans Financial has been helping families with the aid and attendance pension since 2003. Unbelievably, that's 18 years now focusing on this one VA benefit. And we've seen the ebbs and flows, especially in regards to independent living. It has changed as the years have gone on. Now, Veterans Financial specializes in educating families. We're sort of the old fashioned way of learning about this benefit. You can give us a call. We will show you our number at the end, and we will also provide you some materials. You can give us a call between 9 and 5:30 Monday through Friday. We are on the East Coast, so keep that in mind. If for any reason you leave a voicemail, we will call you back first thing the next morning, or if we're still open, hopefully within the hour. We have a lot of very friendly customer service folks that are wanting to talk to you. There's no press one or press two, which I think is just wonderful, and that's the way seniors should be treated. So what we do is we go through these four criteria with you. We look at your specific situation. If you are eligible now, if you are ready to apply now, we will provide you some ways to apply. One way that we provide is the application packet. It is 32 pages for the spouse and 34 pages for the veteran. It is a lot of paperwork. You can do it by pen and paper. We give it to you for free, but it is very time consuming and it's often fraught with mistakes if you've never done it before. So, a second way that we work with families is we direct them to a website called aidandattendance.com. We just launched this last year, myself and a VA accredited attorney. It is an excellent way to fill out your application using the computer. So, obviously, everybody that's on today or watching later is computer savvy. You are able to find the recording or get on the Zoom. You could also do your application using this website. Doing it on the computer will help you get it done quickly, usually in about an hour, and will make sure that you don't make any mistakes or omissions, which can cause you a delay or denial in benefits. So, that is typically the way we recommend to families. Now, Veterans Financial is also available to help you if you are above the family net worth limit, that bright blue box in the bottom right corner, the fourth criteria. We do financial planning with families if you are over the asset limit. And we do earn a commission when we help any families with that. No money comes from you. If we recommend certain companies to help you become eligible, we would earn a small commission from them. So we just want to be real clear about that. So now that you know a little bit about myself and my companies, let me just dive right into the criteria, which is why you joined today. So the first and most important criteria of the benefit, this criteria is not flexible. Either you meet it or you don't. And hopefully we don't have a lot of people hanging up from this Zoom after they hear this criteria, but this is a make it or break it. So the military service of the veteran. The veteran needs to have served at least 90 active duty days. They do not have to be consecutive. And the reason I say that is the National Guard, the Merchant Marines, and the reservists sometimes don't serve 90 active duty days in a row. All you need is 90 total days. And we have seen that happen before. They can be combined, different periods of active duty. Now, of the 90 days, just one, needs to be during a period of war. You'll see on the screen the dates that World War II began and ended, the dates Korean conflict began and ended, the dates that Vietnam began and ended. They are also on the homepage of aidandattendance.com if you want to check them out after this webinar, or you can give us a call and discuss it with a member of my team. Now, what you also see is that no combat is required. This is a mistake that some people think. They think they're not eligible because they were not in the combat zone. They might have been in a different country. They might have been in the United States. It doesn't matter as long as they served 1 day of active duty during a period of war. They also have to have an honorable medical or general discharge. Dishonorable will disqualify the veteran and therefore the spouse from this benefit. Fortunately, I've only heard 3 dishonorable discharges in all my time, so that is not typically a problem. All of this information is found on the veteran's discharge papers, also known as a DD-214 form for the Korean and Vietnam eras. If you do not know where your discharge papers are, you will need to order them. You can easily do that. We can recommend a couple ways to do that from either Veterans Financial or aidandattendance.com. Just reach out to us. And again, we will help you order your discharge papers. That is a great first step. Even if you're super healthy and you might not be eligible for this today, as we're going to talk about in the next criteria, you need to work on finding your discharge papers because you're going to need them when you apply. Not only do you need the data from them, you need to actually mail in a copy of your discharge papers, preferably a certified copy, to the VA with the application. And lastly, surviving spouses apply on their most recent husband's service. So the surviving spouse does not apply until the veteran is deceased, and she can apply on her last marriage, which has to have ended in death. So again, if you remarry after your wartime veteran to a non-veteran or non-wartime veteran, unfortunately, you are no longer eligible for this benefit. Right, on to criteria 2. Criteria 2 is a medical criteria. There is a 3-page medical form that needs to be completed by a primary care physician, maybe the community doctor, even a nurse practitioner. But the doctor or the nurse practitioner needs to attest that either the veteran or the spouse, or maybe both, if they both have care needs help because of a physical or cognitive impairment. So a physical impairment means you need assistance with 2 activities of daily living. The 6 the VA recognizes are bathing, dressing, toileting, feeding, transferring, ambulating. Typically, the entree to being eligible for this benefit is when you need a little help getting in and out of the shower and redressed without slipping and falling. All you need is a hand. I'm not suggesting that you need a sponge bath or being dressed like a baby doll. You just need a simple shower assist, which many senior living communities can provide, and certainly home care agencies can as well, so that you can get in and out safely and not break a hip and have a much bigger medical problem. Now, you might need some of the other bullets that you see on the screen, but bathing and dressing is just enough. Now, if you have a cognitive impairment, the VA recognizes that you need to live in a protected environment. Protected environment is what a senior living community can provide to you. And so if you have dementia or Alzheimer's, or if somebody that you love does, that can qualify them medically for the benefit. They don't need the ADLs. They just need the diagnosis on the medical form of dementia or Alzheimer's. And then I give you some other examples of diagnoses that we see on these medical forms as well. Macular degeneration will qualify, Parkinson's disease, maybe a post-stroke. You get the picture. If you need care from another individual and a doctor will document that, then you will be able to meet the medical criteria. Then we move on to the third criteria. The third criteria is all about dollars and cents. The VA looks at the total household income and the total household care costs. So that we're on the same page before I show you an example, let's talk about what income is. Income is Social Securities, pensions, wages if one part of the couple is still working, rental income from any properties you might be renting out, interest and dividends, which also includes required minimum distributions. I always get that question. Now, it is household income. So that means both husband and wife, both spouses. It also means even if there is a second marriage, even if there is a prenup, it is still total income. So sometimes that can be an issue. Now, care costs are senior living, primarily assisted living and memory care. I know we are mostly independent living on this call today, and that's why I'd like to point out home care. Home care also counts as a medical expense. So in some of your communities, I'm sure you're bringing in home care, and that can help you offset income. or potentially you're having assistance from the assisted living side coming in to help you. That would also count as an expense. Nursing home care, if you're paying out of pocket. So typically, nursing home care is paid for by Medicare, Medicaid, or health insurance. But if you are paying out of your own pocket, hopefully long in the future, then that would be a medical expense. Health insurance premiums. Now, again, it's for both parts of the couple, even if one person's healthy. So health insurance can be quite costly. Of course, there's Medicare for most people, and then supplemental policies that can get added in to beef up your care costs. And prescriptions. I typically don't recommend prescriptions if the top four are going to get you the full benefit. But I know many of you are in independent living, so you might want to add in your prescriptions. There are some prescriptions that are quite expensive, and that could also help you get more money from the VA if you qualify. So let's look at a full benefit, and then we're going to look at a partial benefit. So here's an example. A full benefit, which typically happens, is when the total income is lower than the total care costs. So in this scenario, we have $2,000 coming in. It's probably a single person, and $4,500 of care expenses going out. That's probably senior living, health insurance, maybe prescriptions. Now, we all know that if you do this equation correctly, it's going to tell you that the person is actually negative 2,500. They have to find that money from somewhere every month. A bridge loan, savings, their kids, from somewhere. But the VA doesn't go to a negative number. So the VA says this person's net income is zero. You are spending more than you have coming in, therefore your net income is zero. Zero is a great number to get to because zero means you are entitled to one of those four full benefit amounts: the 1244, the 1936, the 1520, or the 2295 that we saw on the third slide. Now, I think it's important to mention that the entire cost of senior living, memory care, and home care counts as a medical expense. So if the community is providing you care with activities of daily living or protected environment, it is not just the room and board. It is not just the services they're providing you. It is the total at the bottom of the invoice. And that's how oftentimes the care costs exceed the income. Same with home care. Whatever hours that aide is coming into your independent living room will count, not just the 20 minutes they're helping you in and out of the shower, but if they're with you 4 hours a day, 7 days a week, the entire 28 hours is going to count as a medical expense and can help you get this benefit. So the next example is partial benefit. And this might be the case for many of you, and that's okay. Partial benefit is great. It's still tax-free money. You're still approved for the benefit. And then in the future, if you start spending more money or your income goes down, you can always ask the VA for an increase all the way up to the maximum. You're not stuck one and done at whatever amount they give you in 2021. So this example is a single veteran. He's got $5,000 of total income and $4,500 of care costs, the same care costs as before. But his income is $3,000 higher. He probably has maybe 2 pensions, Social Security. People do have a lot of income coming in sometimes. Well, the VA says his net income is $500. He has $500 that he does not spend on his care expenses every month. Now, you and I know that $500 might go to his cell phone bill or his cable bill or any debt he has, but the VA doesn't care about that. Those are not medical expenses that are ongoing. And so, unfortunately, what the VA will do is take away $500 from the maximum benefit. So if the veteran was eligible, as you see at the bottom, for 1936, because it's a single veteran, and he has 500 extra dollars, the VA is going to award him approximately 1436. So this is when I say, if there's anything else that the community or the home care aid or agency can help you with, you might as well take advantage of it. If you spend 500 extra dollars, you're going to get 500 extra dollars. There's really no reason to leave money on the table with the VA. Now, if there's nothing that you need or nothing that you want, that is fine. Get a partial benefit. It's still 1,436 tax-free dollars every month. It is still worth applying even for $100. So the last criteria we look at is countable net worth. The VA asks you to document household assets. And I emphasize that word household again because they do look at both spouses. Again, even if there's a prenup, even if it's a second or third marriage, the VA does not care. This is money that could be used to pay for medical expenses. You'll see in the blue box, this year's asset limit is $130,773. I usually tell people to just remember 130,000. This number will go up next year and the year after and the year after that, depending on the cost of living adjustment, just like the benefit amounts do. So it's going to go up 1 or 2%. It's not going to make a whole heck of a lot of difference. In 5 or 10 years, it really might make a big difference, but next year it'll probably be in the 132, 133 range. The VA has an 11-page financial disclosure form, which is why we recommend you doing the application on the computer because it's really long. They ask you to document all bank accounts, CDs, annuities, IRAs, 401ks, mutual funds, real estate other than your primary residence. So that's second home, farm, commercial real estate, rental properties, anything. Stocks and bonds, anything that they think you can easily sell or liquidate is an asset. Now, what they don't count is your primary residence. So if you own a home, even if you're living in an independent living community and you still have a home sitting somewhere, it can be vacant or not, doesn't matter. You can have one person living in the community and one person living at home. That's fine too. A primary residence does not count against you for this benefit as long as you do not sell it. They know that you cannot pay your monthly invoice with a window or a door, and that's why it does not count. And you can only have 2 acres around it. Anything more than 2 acres, unless you can prove to the VA that it is impossible to subdivide out acre 3, 4, 5, counts as real estate in the top section. So you need to know the value of those extra acres, and that might push you above the $130,000. You can have final expense policies. Those are prepaid funerals, burial policies. If you do not have one, we can help you establish one. I highly recommend it. Not only does it protect $10,000 or $20,000 from the VA, it protects that money from from Medicaid in the future, and frankly, it keeps your children from having sticker shock if you haven't set aside money for your funeral and now they're stuck paying $10,000 or $20,000 after you've passed. So please reach out to us for help with that. It's very easy. It'll take you like 5-10 minutes to set that up. Vehicles and personal property. So the VA doesn't ask about your vehicles. Everyone always wants to tell us about dad's truck. They don't want to know about that. If you sell it and you get a whole lot of money, that'll go into your bank account and that'll rise you potentially above the 130. But a truck or car is fine. They're not asking for it, as well as personal property. Same thing. If you sell grandma's diamond ring and you get a lot of money, that could be a problem. But usually that is not an issue. So they don't ask about them on the application. So if you're on the call today or you're listening to the recording, you're probably thinking, if you're over that number, you're wondering, is there a look back with this benefit? Unfortunately, there is. The VA did add a look back in 2018, which means if you mistakenly apply with more than $130,000 or you improperly gifted any assets, if you transferred any assets or gave them away in an attempt to get below 130 and you apply at the wrong time, the VA can look back 36 months. They ask on the application, have you made any gifts or asset transfers in the past 3 years? And how much was it? Based on that information, they can penalize you from the benefit for 5 years. And by penalize, I mean not give it to you. So by doing planning wrong with your assets, not only are you going to be penalized for 3 years, you're probably going to be penalized for 5 years. It's very easy to hit that 5-year number, which is why we want you to reach out to us today or this month if you're thinking about this benefit for now or even in the future, so we can get you started with appropriate planning. As you see at the bottom of the slide, it is possible for some families to become eligible immediately, while others are going to wait 36 months, 3 years before applying safely for this benefit. So I know, as I've said a couple times, many of you on the call today are very healthy and independent in independent living. That's a tongue twister. this is the time to start doing the planning because you have the runway. You have the 36 months before you're going to be medically eligible because hopefully you're healthy. Many times we have people that wait to the very last minute as they're moving into assisted living, and now they've got another 3 years to wait for this benefit. So if you're ready to go, we want to start helping you now so that everything, all your ducks are in a row when you are medically eligible for this benefit. Now, if you're thinking of selling your home, as oftentimes people do before they move into independent living, that can cause you a problem. So I said to you that if the house stays a house, it's fine. But if you sell it and then you get a lot of money for your home, usually you do get more than $130,000, hopefully, that can cause you to be ineligible for the benefit because your assets are going to go up. So we want to work with families before they sell their house and if possible before they apply so that we can connect them with a VA accredited attorney to help them understand how to protect their home and the future home proceeds from making them ineligible for the benefit. We want you to be able to use that money for your care, but not have it prevent you from getting this benefit until you've spent it down. So again, pre-planning, that's what this is really all about today. So now I'm going to give you two examples. This one is called diminishing funds. Mary is the widow of a Korean War veteran, so she's got the military criteria. She needs help with activities of daily living, so she's got the medical criteria. And she's been in a senior living resident for 2 years, so she's got the medical expense. Now, I do like to point out she's been a senior living resident for 2 years. Potentially, she was eligible for this benefit 24 months ago and now has lost out on $30,000 of benefits, and there's nothing we can do to get that back. The VA only looks forwards. So you don't want to wait. You want to apply as soon as you can. She now has $75,000 remaining in savings and a monthly income of $1,800. According to my calculations, Mary is going to run out of money in 26 months. She's got $1,800 coming in, $4,500 going out to senior living, $150 to Medicare. She needs to dip into her savings $2,850 a month. She will be in and out of the community that she loves in 50 months. That's just over 4 years. And we don't want to see that happening because she's run out of money. So we get her on the benefit, better now, better late than never. She gets an additional income of $1,244 tax-free dollars. And now if you look at the equation on the right, her monthly income is going to be her monthly shortfall, is going to be a total of 1,606. She's brought it down significantly by getting the aid and attendance benefit. Getting the benefit allows her 20 extra months, all paid for by the VA. And now she's going to have 46 additional months in the community for a total of 70 months. So now she's just shy of 6 years at the community, which is much better than just over 4 years. The second scenario is called high income and high assets. Joan and Jack are considering senior living because he has beginning stages of dementia. At ages 81 and 80, the family is concerned how long they're going to be able to afford their senior living because they're relatively young. They have $100,000 in savings and a home they're going to sell for another $180,000, a total of $280,000. And they have good income of $3,600 a month. The monthly cost for both of them to reside in the community, now remember, he's got some dementia, so he may be in memory care, and his wife wants to move along with him, is $5,750 a month. They need $1,000 extra dollars every month. I have that listed as spending money, but really it's probably for health insurance, prescriptions, haircuts, maybe going out to lunch, buying their grandchildren a birthday present. So another $1,000. As I said, the family is concerned about them moving in. So here's what the two equations look like. Without the benefit, they have $3,600 of income, $5,750 of senior living cost, and an extra $1,000 that they need for all those other incidentals. They have a monthly shortfall of $3,150, which means they are going to run out of money in 7 years. I know 7 years sounds like a long time, but it's not if you're Joan and you're 80 and you're healthy and you will be broke at 87 years old. And that's not what we want to see happening. So if we get them the VA benefit, remember Jack is a married veteran, he's going to get almost $2,300 a month. That reduces what they have to dip into savings down to $855. It's not even $1,000 a month. Now the money is going to last 27 years. Essentially, the money is going to outlive Joan and Jack unless they live to 107 and 108. And that is exactly how we want this scenario to go. So by implementing estate planning strategies in accordance with VA regulations, Joan and Jack can become eligible for the VA benefit of $27,500 annually almost immediately. The VA benefit will increase their income by 63% and allow them to pay for Jack's care from income rather than from savings. And of course, this provides the family peace of mind so they can encourage them to move in and enjoy the next stage of their lives. So I'm going to do a few frequently asked questions, which may be already questions you've typed in, and then we're going to see what else you have for me. So feel free to type away after you see these couple slides. The average application approval time is 3 to 6 months. I know you've probably heard some horror stories. The VA is actually doing a good job even during COVID. Typically, delays are caused by you or your children making a mistake on the application. It's the first time you've ever done it. It's very long. And if you leave any boxes blank that should have been filled in, if you fill in something that you shouldn't have, they can't read your handwriting, if you didn't explain things correctly, the VA is going to send you a more information letter and you have to reply back. Every letter causes a 6 to 8 week delay. So when I say on this slide that the average approval time is 3 to 6 months, it can easily be 6 months or longer because of mistakes on the initial application. If you do it pen and paper, we oftentimes see it go through in about 4 months if you were going to peg me on a number. Now, applications done on our website, aidandattendance.com, decrease that time significantly because, as I briefly mentioned at the beginning, it helps you get that application 100% complete and correct before you print it out. You do still have to print it, but you have a perfect application, which of course is typed, so it's very legible. And we're seeing those go through the VA to approval in about 45 days. We've actually seen less than that. I don't want to overpromise, so I feel comfortable telling you about 45 business days to get that through. Benefits are paid retroactive to the first of the month after the application is received. So many people do know that this benefit is retroactive, and if you don't, that's a great thing to know, which means if you get your application to the VA by the last business day of any month, so this month that is May 28th because there's a weekend and a holiday. If you get it to the VA by May 28th, the VA will owe you money starting June 1 once you're approved, if you meet all the criteria. So if you are eligible and you're spending money on your care needs right now, you could apply and they will approve you back to June 1. So if it takes them 4 months, they will owe you June, July, August, September. If it only takes 45 days, they're going to owe you June and July. Now, if you're not ready to apply yet, maybe you don't have your discharge papers, maybe you haven't started that care yet, you can actually submit something called an intent to file form. The intent to file form is an extra page. It is on our website, aidandattendance.com, and it allows you to open your claim with the VA. The claim is open for 1 year, so you have 1 year to get your application in. Now, you only want to do this if your finances, if your net worth is below the asset limit. If you send in that intent to file and you're over the asset limit, you are not going to be able to move or change anything, unfortunately. So the intent to file is perfect if you meet all the criteria or you know you're going to be moving into the community shortly, but you meet the rest of the criteria. So we want to make sure people maximize their benefits and get every single month possible. We don't want anybody to lose June, for example, because they did not open their claim by May 28th. The VA does not recognize a power of attorney signature on their forms. The claimant must always sign their application. The claimant is the veteran while he's living or she's living, and the spouse once he or she is deceased. So they have to sign it. It can be chicken scratch handwriting. This is where messy handwriting is okay. Or an X with 2 witnesses is acceptable, but no POA signatures. Now, I do get this question. If you are a guardian, court-appointed guardian, you can sign the application, but you must submit your guardianship paperwork. So if you are a veteran and you are receiving disability compensation, that's for money for getting hurt in the line of duty many years ago, you do not get both benefits. You either get disability compensation or the aid and attendance pension, whichever is greater. The VA is never going to reduce you. So If you are 80, 90, or 100% disabled, you are probably getting $3,000 or more. There's no point in applying for this benefit, and I'm sorry if you sat through this entire presentation to learn that. If you are 70% all the way down to 10, you absolutely should apply for this benefit because you're likely getting less than what this benefit can provide you. Just know that once you're approved, the disability compensation will stop. You don't get two benefits. We don't want you to double count your money and move into a situation that you cannot actually afford. Now, you do stay a disabled veteran and you get all the healthcare benefits, but you just don't get a monetary payment. If an applicant's care is being paid for by Medicaid, so oftentimes people are private pay until they exhaust all their funds and then they go to Medicaid. You need to let the VA know. Medicaid recipients, if your care is being paid for by Medicaid, only get $90 a month from this benefit. I still think it's worth applying for if you're going straight into Medicaid or letting the VA know. It's $1,100 a year, tax-free, but you don't get the big bucks if you're not spending the big bucks. And finally, I think I covered this a little bit at the beginning, a spouse who is divorced from a veteran or remarries a a non-wartime veteran is no longer eligible for this benefit. So divorce and remarriage really can cause a lot of problems with this benefit. So in conclusion, you can give Veterans Financial a call as soon as you hang up from this webinar. I've got lots of people happy to talk to you. Our number is 800-835-1541. 800-835-1541. And I know that you will be getting some follow-up materials as well, which will have that phone number as well. What you're looking at on the screen is the first page of the veteran application. This is the best page because it asks very easy questions like name, social security, date of birth, and address. It gets more confusing from there, but you can see it's a complex application to complete. There's a lot of little writing and a lot of questions. So we do hope that people consider doing it on the website called aidandattendance.com. If you don't like calling in, you can actually go to this website and for free, you can do a 15-question survey right from the homepage. Again, as soon as you hang up from this webinar, you can go to aidandattendance.com, click the green box on the homepage that says, see if I qualify. You can answer 15 questions and it'll give you a good answer about whether you're eligible and for how much. After that, you can move on to using the application software. This is what will help you fill out the application. You see it's a lot clearer than what the VA paperwork looks like. It's got 10 pretty tabs across the top. The first one is that intent to file that I talked about, which can get you extra months of money, retroactive funds. You fill out the boxes and bubbles and check marks under each tab. And once it's 100% complete, you see the little bar at the top that says 87% on this example. But once it's at 100%, you can generate your application. You will be emailed a file that you can download and print. You have the veteran or the spouse sign it. You have the community sign it or the home care aide sign it, or maybe both. And you have the doctor sign it. And then you mail it off to the VA with supporting documents. And this is what goes through in about 45 days or less. So hopefully you'll check this out. The cost of the software starts at $99. We have a one-time charge. That's it. We have a couple upgraded packages, $199 and $299, that you might be more interested in as well. Some people want that extra support.
You do have a lot of questions. We had a lot of really good information as we anticipated. This is always a very hot topic because there's a lot to navigate, and you did an excellent job not only giving the information in a way that we can all understand and telling us what we need to know, but I also thought you did a great job with your examples. And I think a lot of people could see themselves within those examples and perhaps answer the questions that they came here today looking to get answered. So excellent job as always, Emily. And we will get started. So you show the aid in attendance, the $99 for the starting package. Somebody did ask, let me go to this question briefly in the chat. And this is, can you review again how Veterans Financial Inc. gets paid?
Sure. I tried to do that at the beginning because I always get this question at the end. So I was trying to get to that. So Veterans Financial does financial planning, VA planning with families. Many of you have probably heard the term Medicaid planning. It's very similar, some similar strategies. It has a 36-month look back. So we do planning with families. which essentially means working with their kids, their grandkids, their nieces, their nephews, some trusted individual to help them reduce their assets in order to be eligible for this benefit. You're not going to get this benefit if you're over the asset limit. So we do planning with a family, and we do earn a commission from whatever company or companies we recommend for your situation. And there's not a cookie cutter mold. I think I said this, but I'll say it again. That's okay. We do need to look at your scenario, different ages, different care costs, different states, different number of children, different financial plan. So we come up with something that's going to get you the benefit in the quickest amount of time possible. And what we recommend, the companies that we trust will pay us a commission. There is never any money coming from you, which I think is the most important part.
Absolutely. Great answer. And I hope we're going to try to keep everybody anonymous. So I hope out there for you that answered your question. So let's move on. We will start from the top and work our way down with these questions. The first question we had that came in was, I do inquire from clients if their loved one is a veteran and try to find a VA advisor to assist with this type of benefit. If there is another avenue I should be taking to get them in contact with someone to assist with this benefit, what is it? And can I assist myself as a social worker directly with the caseworkers that assist with this type of benefit?
So I think the answer to that, and tell me if I'm on track, Melissa, it was the long question, and I'm not reading it, I'm trying just to listen and not read, is you can absolutely reach out to Veterans Financial and speak with one of my either myself or one of my staff about your client's situation. You are 100% welcome to do it on speakerphone. We are happy to do it with you as a part of the situation. We're happy to talk with you and tell you what you need to go back and ask your client, and then you can call back. You can have them call on their own. If you want to help them without involving us on the phone, that is what aidattattendance.com is for. And I know a lot of care managers are helping people using our website, and that's the purpose of the See If I Qualify button right on the homepage. You can go through the 15 questions and help figure out whether the person that you're working with has the ability to get this benefit. And if there's any questions, you can always give us the call. There's actually a phone number on that website, as well as Veterans Financial, and we can talk through anything you might not understand about what the survey results say.
Next question. Medicaid has an estate recovery program. Does the VA have that as well upon the VA benefit recipient's death?
So I'm not a Medicaid expert. What I think you're talking about is if you're on Medicaid, then they want to recover assets after the person's passed to essentially pay off some of what Medicaid has paid out. And Medicaid is a state-by-state program. So again, I can't speak to your state in particular and how that works. For VA, no is the answer. They are not going to, after the person passes, the benefit just stops. That's it. The claim dies with the claimant. They do not go back and, want proceeds from the home sale. They don't want to go back and try to get money that maybe was moved out of the person's name 3 years ago. This benefit is all about ongoing costs. You only get it if you're spending money on care going forward. And when that care stops, when you stop paying for care, and usually move on to Medicaid, they are not going to ask for any recovery of assets. We know that that is a potential funding solution that might be better than VA, or might be the solution in, let's say, 5 years. So that is taken into the scenario when our financial planning department looks at your particular situation.
Fantastic. Next question. Does the income count for all family members of a household? For example, if they have another family member in the household that is working, such as an adult child? This is a great question.
That's a great question. I never get that question. No, it doesn't, though. That's the good answer to that. So that if your child's living with you or grandchild, that is not income. It's essentially household for your IRS purposes. So if you're filing taxes with your spouse, which you probably are, that's a household. So no, the children's income does not count. It's just the spouse's.
Next question, and this kind of goes along the lines of the last question. What if the VA benefit recipient has a grandchild they are taking care of? What are the ramifications, benefits, et cetera, in relation to that? And that's part one. So answer that, and then we'll do part two of this.
Usually, if the benefit recipient is eligible for this benefit, they're not healthy enough to be caring for a grandchild. So you have to show the VA that you need help with activities of daily living or a cognitive impairment. So you're probably not caring for a grandchild at that point. Now, maybe the spouse is caring for the grandchild, but that really doesn't have an impact on whether they're eligible or not. The VA is only looking at the spouse's to combine income and the spouse's combined medical expenses. So the cost of caring for a grandchild is not a medical expense either. Maybe that's what they're referring to.
Okay, and then the second part, and Emily, you may have to help me bridge this together.
Okay.
It says, does the VA, if a veteran is over income, do you have a Miller Trust or qualified income trust program?
Okay, so I'm going to start by saying I'm not an attorney, so I'm not going to give any legal advice. So there are different types of trusts. I am not an expert on the Miller's Trust or the other one that you referenced, to be honest with you. I can tell you that most of the time we have people that when they say they have a trust, it's in a revocable trust. Their assets are in a revocable trust. Unfortunately, assets in a revocable trust are accessible by the veteran or the spouse, and therefore that is an asset that will count into the $130,000. Irrevocable trusts, again, I'm not an attorney, and if anybody wants to have further conversations about trusts, I would be more than happy to connect you with my business partner who is a VA accredited attorney. But irrevocable trusts, and he does these for many people, especially with home sales. Irrevocable trusts mean that the veteran or the spouse do not have access to the assets in the trust. And so therefore that money will not be counted by the VA into the family net worth limit. And so that is a very useful tool when you're selling a home. I cannot speak to Miller's Trust versus revocable and irrevocable and the ins and outs on that.
Next question, are there any financial benefits for veterans that did not serve during wartime? Great question.
That's a great question. And we always try to be a resource for families. If this benefit doesn't work for them for whatever of the 4 criteria, we're going to try to help them with something else. So there is not a monetary benefit that ties anywhere directly with this aid and attendance pension. However, there are 2 other benefits that you might want to research. One is called Veterans Directed Care. And that will allow the veteran, if he meets some financial and medical criteria, to be able to direct the VA to pay an individual to help him with his or her care needs. So that is typically for home care, though, and not in a senior living community. So that's why it doesn't tie completely with this benefit and what we're trying to teach on today. But if you don't meet this benefit, please look up Veterans Directed Care. There is a page on the VA's website that describes it, and a case manager at your VA medical clinic can help you apply for that. Then also times people can get some hours of free home care paid for directly by the VA to a local home care agency. That too, you will need a case manager to help you apply for, and you have to meet some physical and financial criteria in order to get those 5 or 10 hours of free home care. But besides aid and attendance, there really isn't a monetary benefit that's going to deposit into your checking account to help you pay for senior living.
Next question, is independent living in a senior care community eligible as a deductible cost?
So I think you're talking about, well, maybe 2 things. Taxes as well as VA benefits is probably the latter, but independent living typically is considered rent, not a medical expense. Now, if it's in a combined community, and I know many of the communities that are on today, they are combined communities, and the assisted living side might be providing that independent living resident with some care, you might be able to get the rent to count as a medical expense. There is 1 page of the application that needs to get completed by the community. And so I would always recommend, if you want to try to get this benefit, if you're strictly independent living, maybe the community is providing you some care, that's the best thing to start with. And we'd be more than happy to provide you just that 1 page, and you can take it to the executive director of the community and ask whether they're able to fill that out for you. That will make the rent count as a medical expense. And I would say, and again, I'm not an accountant, I would say that would probably also make that rent count as a medical expense for IRS purposes. But again, talk with your tax advisor about that.
Fantastic. What you do very well. But this goes into many different arms from
Yes.
taxes to trust attorneys. So there are a lot of people that potentially can be involved in any specific case. So another great answer, Emily. Thank you. Now, for this one, another great question. If family members are providing home care, can that cost be used as a medical expense?
Ah, I was so hoping that was going to come up. So thank you, whoever asked that question. That is a key in this benefit for independent living residents many times. So yes, 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 you can pay a family member. You can absolutely pay a family member. Now you can't pay a spouse because if one spouse pays the other spouse, the income goes up and the care cost goes up. So it just kind of levels out again. But you absolutely can pay a family member, a child, a grandchild, a niece, a nephew, frankly, a friend, a neighbor. You can pay them for care. They will then have to fill out the page of the application called Worksheet for In-Home Care Attendant. They are your home care aide. The VA doesn't care whether your home care aide is licensed, whether they're with an agency, whether they're even a professional home care aide, but you can pay a family member or friend to care for you, but you need to actually pay them, which doesn't mean you just say that you're paying them on the application. You write them a check, they deposit it. There's a paper trail with the bank statement in case the VA asks for that. They don't often do that, but you have to make sure what you say on the application you're doing. And they can be your home care aide. If you're paying them all of your income or a lot of it, you're going to be eligible for the benefit. Yeah.
Anonymous asks, are you eligible for ANA and still live at home? So can you be eligible for ANA and still live at home?
Absolutely. So that's similar to what we just talked about. If you're at home and you're paying for home care is going to be your major medical cost. Your home doesn't count as a medical cost, unlike senior living can count as a medical cost, which is why sometimes you get more money if you do move into a community. But yes, you can get it at home with a home care agency, aide, or family member or friend paying them. And then you can add in your health insurance and prescriptions too to try to get it up a little higher.
Great. Mark Croft wanted to say, outstanding job. So yeah, and I
Oh,
agree with that. So
thank you.
and thank you. But
What
he
a
also
nice, almost concluding comment. Thank you so much.
yes, he does have a question though. Does Emily deal with all types of VA assistance applications?
So we only do the aid and attendance benefit, and that's why we're really good at it. If you do need additional assistance with VA benefit applications, such as disability claims, I will recommend my business partner, VA accredited attorney Robert Blumberg, to help you with that. He does disability claims as well. He could probably help you with any maybe TRICARE issues. But the reason Veterans Financial does so well at aid and attendance is that's all we focus on.
Perfect. And the last question, and I saved this one for last because I thought it was a great way to circle back to our topic today and really get that final kind of fine print sentence or two in here to answer the big question. It says, am I correct that this benefit is only available when someone needs assisted living, i.e. the benefit is not available if living in the independent living area of a senior living facility? So that's the big question.
Yep.
So how does this work for senior living communities in the independent arm?
That's a great concluding question. So I would say twofold. First, you need to meet the medical criteria. If you're living in independent living and you know you don't need a lick of help, God bless you. That's great. You don't need help and cherish your health. You're not going to pass the medical criteria because no doctor is going to say that you need any care with activities of daily living or cognitive impairment. So if you can't pass that one, I wouldn't even worry about your senior living community. If you do need some care, you then can potentially get this benefit in independent living if somebody is caring for you. There is a page of the application. It is called Worksheet for Assisted Living. Unfortunately, that is a change. As I told you, we have followed how the VA looks at independent living, pro and con, over the past 18 years. That is a form that was created and put into the application in 2018. You will need to take that to your executive director and see if they are willing and able to complete that page. It does ask some very pointed questions about licensure, about caregivers in the community, and about the care being provided to you. So there is not a overall 100% blanket statement that I can say yay or nay right now. It is going to depend on the care that you need and the care that the community is providing to you and that you are paying for. Typically, standalone, straight up independent living buildings are not able to provide you any care, and therefore they're not doing so. So that will be tough today, but you might be bringing in home care, or you might transition to the assisted living. And at that point, you will definitely be eligible. So I hope that puts a little bit of clarity on a vague situation. I wish I could give you more black and white, but it's going to depend on what care you're getting from your community.
She knows her stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Takes us up towards the top of the hour. Veterans benefits is always a very popular topic, as you can see with the rapid fire questions today. Emily Schwartz, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us today.
My pleasure. I always love being on with you. So thank you so much for another fun hour.
And we thank you, of course, for being a part of our conversation today. This video will be available tomorrow, along with all of our other senior living related videos at www.seniorlivinglive.com. We thank you all so much for watching. Have a great day, everybody.